Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're learning the details of a major cyber attack that could impact your grocery bill. The target was the world's largest meat processing company, JBS. The company's 5 biggest plants here in the U.S. handle more than 22,000 cattle a day.
The company is the top beef producer in the U.S. and the number 2 producer of pork and poultry. The average American is going to see prices rise.
I think a lot of that depends upon how long this lasts. If indeed JBS is unable to slaughter cattle or hogs, over a sustained period, and really even a matter of days, then yes.
Yeah, beef, it's what for dinner, but it's expensive. And it matters because each and every day we're seeing things continue to rise. New word, shrinkflation. You're spending more money and getting less. There's always joke about that, right? You go to the store and you buy a bag of chips, and the thing's huge. You're like, oh, my God. And you get it, you open it up, and it's all, and then you're like, wait, what's that? There's nothing in here. We're spending more. So this is what you've had. Coronavirus. Through coronavirus, you've had the break in the supply chains. Horrific winter in certain places that caused a slowdown in certain things. Oh, and now you've got this hack. So they hack into this place and essentially take over. Everything's pretty much automated in a lot of different ways. Takes it over, and boom, there we go. Another issue. Bunch of Russians over there. How do you know they're Russians? Because we're not idiots. And lo and behold, look at what you have. Serious issues. It's going to cost us more. Every time you go to the store now, it's going to cost you more for something. This piggybacked on the fact that not too long ago, we had another issue with petrol.
JBS told the White House that a criminal group, likely based in Russia, was responsible. This latest incident follows last month's ransomware attack on Colonial Pipeline. Russian hacking group The Dark Side claimed responsibility and walked away with nearly $5 million from Colonial. Hackers see a new opportunity.
Hackers recognize that they have the ability to impact individuals through very straightforward, simple attacks that can impact critical infrastructure, food supply, and ultimately come down to the lives of everyday citizens.
Yeah. And they're not interested. They don't want to destroy everything because to them it's a business. It's kind of like we go back to shipping. There's large cargo boats you see with Maersk on it and, and huge and they're going around the, through Africa, through part, they go and they take this around the Horn and oh my goodness. And they go to places. Oh, here comes the Somali pirates. And they're not interested in killing and destroying. They're interested in essentially a business transaction. That's it. And it's a perfect time to hit us. Why? 4th of July's coming up. Summer's here. People are going to be out barbecuing, having fun. We've already got issues with meat and the supply chain, not just with meat, but with a lot of different things. And taking them offline even for a day will shoot prices up. Plus, then you've got the panic of the way that we do things because we do things in this country by panicking and then buying as much as we can and then overstocking, not realizing we took a step back. We're like, all right, you know what? We're going to be fine. But meat's more expensive. And I know that because I've got animals that eat meat. Wait, what? Yeah. My animals get a variety of diets. Meat being one of them. And it is far more expensive for some of this stuff. It's crazy how expensive some of the stuff is. Some of the stuff that you think, that's just a throwaway. Far more expensive. What's the White House going to do? That's the thing. At the end of the day, we look to the White House to solve all problems. That's not going to happen. But we can ask questions about, what are you guys doing? They're going to pay off. They negotiated. They'll pay them off. And that's the way this thing's done. Even though they've got backup servers, they're trying to get it back online. The whole thing here is, how do we make you go away? What if they come back? They don't come back because they know eventually they've got what they wanted. Like I say, they're not about, they want to disrupt, they don't want to destroy. They look at it as a business transaction, and they're criminals. They're not interested in absolutely destroying. Because if they wanted to destroy it all, they could have done it. They're not interested in that. They're interested in getting money. But questions do need to be asked. How are you defending it? What's the White House going to do? How are they going to respond? And the same thing goes to Russia. Right? What are they going to do when it comes to Russia?
Nothing happens in Russian territory without the Russian government knowing it. So even if they haven't directed it, they're still complicit. They're allowing it to happen, and they knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. You want to know why? Because if they get $10 million, you know Putin and his pals are going to get something. Right? It's a VIG. It's like watching a gang movie. Yeah, you can operate here, but you're paying me something. Not letting you do something for free. Right? You guys make $100 million holding stuff hostage. I'd like 20% of that. Just for allowing you to live and do business here. And with that, you'll get some protection, and we'll deny all of this stuff. That's the reality of it. Then you got to look around and say, all right, so what's the next thing? They've done hospitals, obviously saw with the pipelines. So they're picking and choosing, and they're seeing now that this is an easy way to get money. For years, hospitals was easy. They go after hospitals, smaller hospitals. They wouldn't ask for $20 million or $15 million, but they'd ask for $500,000. And the people look over and go, pay them $500,000 because it's going to cost you $2 million to rebuild. And it's going to take forever, and you're going to lose all your information. So they just paid it and quietly went away. The issue for a lot of these things is it's becoming big news. So it's always a dirty little secret in the world of, I guess you'd say, the shipping world, where they did pay and everybody went away. Right? That's always kind of that dirty, you shouldn't do that. But to them, it was a cost of doing business. But it was quiet. You didn't really hear much about it. This is getting bigger and bigger and louder. And I don't know how they feel about that. White House?
Meat producer JBS notified us on Sunday that they are the victims of a ransomware attack. The White House has offered assistance to JBS. JBS notified the administration that the ransom demand came from a criminal organization likely based in Russia. The White House is engaging directly with the Russian government on this matter and delivering the message that responsible states do not harbor ransomware criminals.
But they're not responsible. Remember, Putin, for all intents and purposes, is gangster number one. He is everything Pablo Escobar wanted to be. He's a politician. He's a gangster. He's a killer. He runs everything. The guy is, he is everything that Pablo Escobar dreamed of being. And yes, everything that happens there, he understands, he knows, and he gets his VIG. What's my VIG, man? What'd you pay me? What's my deal? What am I getting? You're operating here. I want to know. You don't do something here in my backyard without me getting something.
The FBI is investigating the incident. USDA has reached out to several major meat processors in the United States. We're assessing any impacts on supply, and the president has directed the administration to determine what we can do to mitigate any impacts as they may become necessary.
Yeah. So things are going to get more expensive. Be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. On top of that, you've got prices going up when it comes to gas for several different reasons. Not all because of Biden. But if you take a step back right now, you'd be like, man, you got prices through the roof when it comes to food. Feel like inflation's about ready to pop. And I look over there and I see, the gas prices going up as well. Holy moly, it feels like Carter. It does. And now he wants to spend more money. Let's not forget about that, right? Let's not forget about all of the stuff he wants to do on top of that.
This budget comes directly from the North Pole. Santa Claus has come to town, and it isn't even December yet. I cannot tell you how excited I am. It's like going through the catalog and saying, I want one of everything, and by golly, I get it. If you love government, and you really think that the government will spend your paycheck better than you will, and if you honestly believe that government not only will spend your paycheck, but that they will do it so much more efficiently and effectively than you could ever spend your own money, what's not to love?
Yeah, and that what he wants, that $6 trillion budget's insane. Therein lies the fear of inflation. And remember, when everybody talks about, I'm looking for signals in the market when we might be headed for some sort of recession, and last year's recession was not the recession we would normally think of, what we saw in 2008 or a slowdown in the marketplace, because of the fact that it was a pandemic-based. But you look here at a situation and you think to yourself, my goodness me, what could we be heading for? When you see $6 trillion, the amount of money we're spending, the things that we want to do, how it's going to be based by printing more and more money. Things are getting more and more expensive. Our dollar's not going as far. They want to hand out everything to everybody. Consumer confidence is the thing, because it only takes a second for people to go, I'm scared. I don't know if I want to spend any more money. I'm worried. And the next thing you know is everything stops on a dime.
This is, in essence, the everything I've ever wanted budget. Free everything. And it's a 25% increase in spending. I don't know how many Americans are spending more than 25% than they spent last year, but I bet it's not that many. But now the government is going to do it for you. Isn't that great?
Why does it matter? Because it affects our pocketbook, our everyday. Driving is more expensive. Buying groceries is more expensive. When fuel prices go up, what happens? Hits you at the pump, but something you don't think about is every time you go to the grocery store, it hits you there. Every time you purchase something, because of the expense of fuel, it hits you there. With shortages across the board, it all hits you in places. Your dollar's not going further. And this is where you look up and say, all right, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? The reality is we put too much faith into individuals. We need to put more into the individual that's ourselves. But the understanding is you've chosen this gig. You wanted to be president, and people are looking at you. Even people I know who voted for you are like, man, I'm not feeling good about this right now. Great that you got us through this situation when it comes to the coronavirus, but now what? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hope you guys are doing well. Speaking of expense, you can waste your time and effort when it comes to meat, buying stuff that's overpriced and, quite frankly, nowhere near as good. Or you can do the right thing and get yourself some Omaha steaks. Get Out and Grill assortment is amazing. It's perfect time for Father's Day, and it's got all kinds. There is no meat shortage here, kids. I'll tell you that right now. 4 10-ounce butcher cut strips, boneless chicken breasts, Omaha steak burgers, jumbo franks. You got fries, steakhouse fries, caramel apple tatlets, signature seasoning. And then on top of that, for Pops, they're going to throw in 4 New York strip burgers absolutely free. The Get Out and Grill assortment is amazing. Chicken's incredible. And what I love about, we had the New York strips last night. We had the last of them. We made tacos with them, and they were delicious. Why? Age equals tenderness, and they let this age 30 days. What? Get it now at a price that's right and save big. Get Out and Grill assortment just in time for Father's Day and for grilling always. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use keyword Chad right there in the search bar. omahasteaks.com, keyword Chad. Get Out and Grill assortment. 4 free New York strip burgers thrown in just for that. Get Out and Grill assortment. Grab it now. It's just time for Father's Day. omahasteaks.com, keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
it may take several months before the Moderna vaccine is fully backed by the FDA. But as vaccination rates plateau in parts of the country and downright drop in others, doctors hope getting full authorization from the FDA will add one more level of confidence in the COVID vaccine.
Yeah. Thing is, I think people have confidence in vaccines. I think that's a big deal. I think they have confidence. We look around, we're like, we don't have polio anymore. It's like we don't see anybody, that has polio. There's so many things we don't have. Their fear, like anything else, is we look and it's so mental. It takes 10 years to get something through the FDA and all this stuff. How is it because it just shows you how much red tape's in the way of every single thing. But this is good news. They're applying for it. The numbers are good. But the people that want the vaccine have already got the vaccine. People that are agnostic, as I like to call them, they'll get it eventually when it's convenient. Kids are a little different, but eventually they're going to end up getting it. And I think what a lot of people are waiting for, too, is the one and done shot, not just Johnson & Johnson. Like, when do I get this and I don't have to worry about it again? When's that coming? Is that coming tomorrow? Is that coming next month? Is that coming a year from now? I don't want to do this like 4 or 5 times a year. Those are people are looking for those kind of numbers as well. But the reality is, if you look at our numbers here in the U.S., when it comes to coronavirus, they are plummeting. That's massive. That is massive. Like I said, the last that we had numbers-wise, we're 5,600 cases. 5,600 cases. Now, I expect today, because they'll take in the holiday weekend, those numbers to be bigger. But the reality is our 7-day average is about 17,000. I expect that number probably go down again. That's a win. That's a win. It's time to get back to living our lives. We've got opportunities. We've got technology. We've got vaccines. Let's get back to doing it. That's simple. It's that simple. So Moderna, will them getting full authorization rather than emergency authorization? Remember, both of these companies have emergency authorization. Will that help? Probably not, because there's too much disinformation out there and too many people who are not only armed with disinformation, but aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. So I don't think that'll change anything. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're not going to go for a zero COVID world or a zero risk world. If we do, then you better live in your, lock your doors and never come out again. I mean, that's just irrational. And in fact, the fear, inciting fear in search of zero COVID risk is so harmful, and it just indicates so many things wrong, including it totally undermines the trust in public health leadership.
Absolutely. Life is fraught with risk. Some risk is far greater than others. We've talked about this on this show numerous times, that we live in a bubble that we've never lived in before. You go back in time, right? You go back in time. Go back to 1900, which is a blip in human history. Like, go back to 1900, turn of the century, from the 1800s, 1900s. Worldwide, we were living into, our 30s and 40s on average. Obviously, Western countries lived a little bit longer, but it wasn't great. You go back a little bit further, there was a reason that people had 12 kids, because 6 or 8 of them weren't going to make it. We hear about a mass shooting and we lose our, oh my God, it's awful. Nobody's denying that. But then you take a step back and you realize where crime used to be, where it is now. We live in this protective bubble. We think, well, let's just get down to zero. Zero's not going to happen, especially if something is endemic. We don't get down to zero with the flu, yet we deal with it. Dr. Scott Atlas is right. We deal with it. People are scared to go outside. That's real. Dr. McGain.
Many people are experiencing a fear of going out, FOGO. Before the pandemic, we had FOMO, fear of missing out. But during the pandemic, one of the ways we kept safe was by staying at home, really limiting our social interactions to those people within our circle.
Yeah. People have, yeah. We called it. Our little goofy, I said, there's going to be a group of people. Could be 10, 20, 15, 30%, you don't know, that are going to have a tough time readjusting to life and going back out there. They've been living in a bubble. They're scared. Everybody now to them potentially is a killer. And not in the, oh my God, this guy's going to mug me kind of way, but a killer. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's real. We have a couple of them that work here. They won't come back. And there's difference between, people who are like, I don't want to go back to my job. If they can't let me work from home, I don't want to work there anymore. That's a different thing. That's like, I don't want to be in the same room with those people all day. Can't do it. Right? That's a fear of working with idiots. That's a phooey. Oh, yeah, he's right. This is people who are afraid to interact with people. They're afraid of living.
People are feeling an uptick in anxiety about going back out, doing regular things. We don't want to let anxiety kind of dictate our life.
But people do. People live in fear all the time. Fear of everything. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of... This is just now exacerbated so many things for people. And it's sad. It's sad that there are people out there that are going to live that way. I didn't stop living. My life really didn't change much. I say that. It sounds, I can't believe it didn't. I don't hang out with a lot of people anyways, but I do travel and go places, especially with my son. But I wasn't afraid to do certain things because it's not that I'm a risk taker. It's just I also realize the numbers. I look at the data and the numbers and think, okay, I'm going to be fine. And could it happen? Of course, anything could happen. You get the flu. Listen to my voice now. I've got horrific allergies. Never had allergies before. My allergies are off the charts. I feel fine. My voice, it's just I can't stop sneezing at night. Get home and I'm like, I can't stop sneezing. Some nights I end up staying up here just because I need to get away from where I live is very rural, very farmy, so they're farming the hell out of it right now. And because of that, my allergies are through the roof, so I'll stay up here. But I wake up every morning, I drive to work. That's a risk. I take the stairs every single day. That's a risk. I go play golf. That's a risk. Well, how's that a risk? I don't know. Yesterday, twice, I almost got thumped. It was crazy. Everything is. But it's the calculated risk. But one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go, well, those things could all happen, so I'm not going to do them. And people are making that choice now. People are making that choice that they don't want to live their life, and that's sad. That is very, very sad. And this is where, as Scott Atlas talks about, Dr. Atlas points out, like, you know what? As leaders, the experts, you guys got a role to play that's big here, and it's not just about protecting. It's also about calming people.
It totally undermines the trust in public health leadership. This has really been devastating to that. I'm not sure what's going to happen the next time we need experts.
Because they look at people now as just fear-based, and that's not a good thing. That's not successful for anybody. Where, oh my God, look over there, he's going to come and tell me. It's like Fauci. I said, you can't be a downer all the time. People will stop listening to you. It's one thing to inform. It's also another thing to give people the reality of a situation. But when politics get involved, that all goes out the window. I think we all know that. Case in point, look at Wuhan. That all went out the window because, well, it was Trump. And because of Trump, well, we don't like Trump. And so he's a jerk face. And because we don't like him, we're going to make sure that, that none of this stuff is real. And when it turns out to be real, then you step back and you say, well, look what happened. Again, undermines the media, undermines a lot of things. It's not a recipe for success. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. So Governor Newsom's in the battle of his life. Kind of, not really. California's getting back to normal. People have short attention spans. They're looking over there thinking, do we want to get rid of Newsom? And, what would be our choices at this point in time? The recall effort was much different with Gray Davis all those years ago because they looked over and they saw somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger and thought, well, you know what? This guy has got to be better. But they're looking at Caitlyn Jenner and a few of the other people and they're thinking, I don't know if I really want this. So I don't know where this is going to go. But he's always doing something where you step back and you say, California lives in a different world. They just do. How about now?
With this signature,
and we'll just start here by signing this.
Governor Newsom made history, making California the first state in the country studying and developing proposals for potential reparations for African Americans.
I like the spirit of what you guys are saying. This is not just about California. This is about making an impact in a dent across the rest of the country.
Okay, so now you're going to reparations, and it's a study. We're going to study on this. Now, it's only about California because, as we all know, the feds aren't doing anything.
Slavery has never received an apology.
On the federal level, the push for reparations for African Americans has gone nowhere, despite more than a century of effort. Congress has approved reparations for survivors of Japanese American internment camps during World War II, Native Americans, and Holocaust survivors.
Yeah, but survivors, and that's a big difference. Survivors. You were a part of this. We did this to you. And because of that, you've survived it. Here. There's a difference between, well, your great-great-great-great-grandfather and grandmother scenario. And we all admit it is the darkest time in our history. At the same time, you got to go back and you got to say, okay, so how does this work? Who gets what? Like, is it based on what? What if half of your family, is white and we're slave owners, and what if the other half wasn't? I mean, how does that work? Do you only get a percentage of it? I mean, these are the things that they're looking at, and you just step back and you think, what kind of can of worms does this open for everybody? How does it work? Does it go to individuals? Does it go to communities? Does it go to programs? These are all things that once you open this, and they've looked. Not the first. California's not the first, and it won't be the last.
I don't think reparations for something that happened 150 years ago for whom none of us currently living are responsible is a good idea.
Yeah. Remember, Holocaust survivors, Japanese internment, those people were alive. They weren't giving it to the grandkids or the great-grandkids. They were giving it to the people that actually went through it.
But Assemblywoman Shirley Weber, who authored the California legislation, says it's deeper than that.
Even though those who live today are not the actual slave holders, they benefited from the resources of their forefathers. They benefited from racism. They've benefited from having white privilege in this country. And the wealth that they have amassed was amassed on the discrimination in the back of African Americans.
So do we go and just take their money? Is that it? I mean, is that how that works? Is the feds paying for it? Is the state paying for it? Do we just go and say, because you look at California, how much slavery went on in California? Because you're doing it in California, right? So how much slavery went on there, right? What if you're from New York, but you moved to California and your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents were enslaved in Georgia or somewhere like that? How's this? This is the thing where you sit here and you think, no. Are you going to really take money away from people? Are you really going to go and say, all right, you know what? We've looked at your ancestry and your great-great-great-grandparents owned slaves. So because of that, we're going to take away your stuff. That's the thing. This is another one of those things where you're doing something because you want to feel woke and it feels like this is what we should do, but you're not addressing the issues. inside the communities. You're not going in there and spending more money. You're not making schools better and giving people choice when it comes to schools. There are things that you're not doing. We're not addressing the fact of lack of fathers, so many different things. We're not doing that. Instead, this is one of those things that's like, well, if we do this, it just makes everybody feel better, right? But the action is going to be none. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. JBS, the meatpacking company, is up and running. That's right. They are up and running after being offline. Did they pay the ransom? Probably. Will they deny it? Possibly. We'll find out then in a week or two. Yeah, they did pay it. How much? I don't know. But when you think 20% of our meat was shut down over the last few days, that's going to have an effect at the grocery store, which will have an effect on your wallet. They're back up and running now. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Really what it's done for my pet is it made my pet better. Canine Vitasmart is actually a supplement, right? It's a powder. You put it on top of your dog's food. It's got probiotics and vitamins, minerals, vegetables. It's got all these great things, omega-3, 6, 9. It's got all these amazing things, these nutrients. And what it does is it brings your dog's food to life. So my dog Doodle, his joint pain, virtually gone. His arthritic hips, you would never even know about. His coat is better. He's happier and healthier than he has ever been. And to me, that makes me smile. And Rough Greens wants you to do something. Well, you try it before you buy it. It's that simple. You pay for shipping. That's all they ask. From there, they're going to ship you a bag. You try it. If you don't like it, if your dog doesn't like it, no harm, no foul. But I think your dog's going to love it, and you will see a difference. You will. You'll absolutely see a difference. Try it now. roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. You go there. Free bag for you. You pay for shipping. Or call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Every once in a great while, you guys know we talk a little bit about nature. Producer Phil, remind nature what nature can do to you.
Nature will mess you up.
Mess you up. But every once in a great while, you can push back at nature.
Her mom says she was shocked when she saw the video.
I just break down every time I see him. It's just horrifying to watch.
The dogs, including her mom's service animal, are okay.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, it's all over TikTok. I tweeted out yesterday. It's a bear on like a brick fence in somebody's backyard, and it's balancing, and this girl looks out there, and the little dogs are out there barking. Service animal came, did what service animal is supposed to do, by the way. If you guys don't know, that service animal is like that service animal's there to do everything. And bears and dogs don't get along. That's how they hunt bears. There's a lot of times with dogs. And lo and behold, this little 17-year-old girl runs out there and did what?
I was like, it's an animal, and it's taking my child, and I pushed the bear, and I was like, oh my God, I just pushed a bear.
Yeah, you just pushed a bear. You pushed a bear. You did.
It's just the latest bear encounter making national headlines recently.
Oh my God.
Just last week, a man was attacked while hiking in Yellowstone National Park. He suffered serious injuries.
Because bears. Now, I spoke to the bear earlier, and this bear said eventually she's going to see this girl and her family again, and she won't be balancing on a brick wall, and they're going to have some serious words. We'll go from there. If you did see, and we were talking about before the show, it's very reactionary, right? Like, I don't think she would have done the same thing if the bear's outdoors, on the ground, in the backyard, on a post, or on a like the bear's trying to maneuver, it's like going one way. The reaction with the dogs, because the bear doesn't want to get down, is you can go out and you think to yourself, I can push it, and it happens in a split second. And the bear probably had thought, no, because the bear's looking not at the girl, it's looking down at the dogs. It's got the cubs that wants to protect. Different story, though, I think, if the bear's on the ground and the dogs go out there, that story changes. Because it's easy, if you will, to maneuver in a situation like that, where in the split second, but if you're standing face to face with a bear, I think your reaction is, yeah, no. Get inside the house, guys. Get inside the house. Get inside the house.
K-pop group BTS buttering up the charts.
Smooth like butter.
Their new single, Butter, debuts at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 Singles Chart. It's their third single to debut at number 1. A record, and a feat so rare that no other group has done it more than once, much less 3 times. Plenty of solo artists have done it, though. Ariana Grande, the current leader, with 5.
Can I just say, Producer Phil, we need to write a song. Smooth like butter, that's what it is? Like that's...
It sounds just like dynamite.
It's the formula, right? That's what it is. The widget. You just keep turning the wheels for the widget. Just the ATM machine. Don't care what it is. Smooth like butter. That girl went out and pushed that bear smooth like butter. That bear, though, thinking in her head, I'm going to get you. You better watch out. Sleep with one eye open. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Where's the beef?
We're learning the details of a major cyber attack that could impact your grocery bill. The target was the world's largest meat processing company, JBS. The company's 5 biggest plants here in the U.S. handle more than 22,000 cattle a day.
The company is the top beef producer in the U.S. and the number 2 producer of pork and poultry. The average American is going to see prices rise.
I think a lot of that depends upon how long this lasts. If indeed JBS is unable to slaughter cattle or hogs, over a sustained period, and really even a matter of days, then yes.
What? Yeah. So JBS is back up. They got hacked. This is what happens. You know who's not going to get hacked? A place that runs like it's 1980. They're not going to get hacked. Everything, they're not automated. We hacked into your computer. I don't care. That's not going to get hacked. The more modern we are, the more opportunity that is that we're going to get hacked. And this is on the heels of what took place last month with the pipeline. It's business. We know who it is, mostly Eastern European, predominantly Russia. We understand that. And for them, it's business. And for these businesses, it's the cost of doing business now.
JBS told the White House that a criminal group, likely based in Russia, was responsible. This latest incident follows last month's ransomware attack on Colonial Pipeline. Russian hacking group The Dark Side claimed responsibility and walked away with nearly $5 million from Colonial. Hackers see a new opportunity.
Hackers recognize that they have the ability to impact individuals through very straightforward, simple attacks that can impact critical infrastructure, food supply, and ultimately come down to the lives of everyday citizens.
Yeah, it's going to cost more now. As fuel prices rise, stuff was going to go up anyways. Now, taking JBS, which is a Brazilian company, operates all over the globe. They slaughter cows, pork, chicken. They do all of it, right? We don't want to see how it's made, but we like the taste. This is what it's all about. About 20+% it's been offline. You're going to see a steep jump in prices over the next few days because there's going to be lots of pressure and panic buying, because we love to do that. But there's lots of pressure on the fact that we're going to have more people who are interested in buying and not enough of the supply. So you'll see it jump up. And that's frustrating for a lot of people. It is. You got gas prices, as we know, going up.
We could see some prices shoot up even more. If it continues for more than a week or so, we could maybe even see some shortages at the meat counters.
Yeah. So prices going up because of varied reasons. The more expensive it is to ship something from point A to point B, you're going to charge the person who you're shipping something more money. That person then is going to charge you more money, which makes your dollar, your spending power, less. Confidence. Where's the consumer confidence? We've been stuck inside for so long, people are willing to pay just about anything. That's one of the weird blessings of this. But the reality is something's going to have to give sooner rather than later. People are looking up going, is there going to be a issue with gas going up even higher, which means things are going to cost more with already a bad winter and some of the big cattle, chicken producing states like Texas who've had serious issues and there's shortages there. Are we going to see ourselves in a situation where we're going to be paying a ton more and we're looking back going, well, it feels like Jimmy Carter all over again, but we're out of the pandemic. And how do we address this? That's another thing. Are we going to come hard? Probably not. We know who they are. It's the cost of doing business now. It's no different than the shipping companies that have the Somali pirates. So those pirates go out there and they take over these things. It's just a cost of doing business, quietly pay off the ransom, and away they go. Unfortunately, that ends up reflecting on their bottom line, which ends up being passed off to us, which ends up costing more.
Meat producer JBS notified us on Sunday that they are the victims of a ransomware attack. The White House has offered assistance to JBS. JBS notified the administration that the ransom demand came from a criminal organization likely based in Russia. The White House is engaging directly with the Russian government on this matter and delivering the message that responsible states do not harbor ransomware criminals.
Yeah. A, they're not responsible. I think we all know that. And B, and this is most important, he's getting a cut. Of course he is. Right? That's the cost of doing business in his country. You're getting a cut. You guys want to operate on my street corner? I run this place. I take 15, 20% right off the top. Don't short me, or you'll pay a price. It's not personal. It's just business. Of course he knows what's going on. Durr. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's sad because it cost all of us. Every time we go to fill up, it costs us more. Every time we go and buy food, these things are going to cost us more. They've hit hospitals. They've hit the pipeline industry. Now they hit the meat pack. I mean, you've thought about the meat pack. Like, what could be, what? So many automations. You take over the computers. You take over everything. It's like taking over the brain. But it shows you how fragile in so many ways our supply chain is. Now what companies are going to have to start to do is to think about, how do we have two of these? How do we have two of them set up? That's one of the things that this company had as a backup servers and stuff. But still, they didn't have everything. You're going to have to see that now more and more. One offline, but ready to roll. The other online. And when something goes down, being able to flip-flop really quick. Remember, they're not interested in destroying. They could have easily destroyed and took everything down, made them rebuild, and put more pressure. What they want is a quick hit and money. That's it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Wuhan, baby. Little John Kennedy.
I know Dr. Fauci. I like Dr. Fauci. I respect Dr. Fauci. But karma, as they say, is a witch. For the record, that's W-I-T-C-H. The evidence has finally caught up with the Chinese Communist Party, with Dr. Fauci, who for over a year have said that the idea that the coronavirus came from a China lab leak was a conspiracy theory, and that anybody believed that was circus freak crazy. Well, it wasn't a conspiracy theory.
No. Doesn't seem to be. We touched on it a bit yesterday. It's important to know where this thing came from. Now we've got something else that's out there.
A 41-year-old man in China's eastern province of Jiangsu has been confirmed as the world's first human case of infection with a rare bird flu strain. China's National Health Commission said the risk of a large-scale spread of the H10N3 is extremely low and that the strain does not cause severe disease in birds.
Translation, what they're saying is it's this thing, while is something you're like, oh my God, should we pay attention to this? What I read about it yesterday, it's the H10N3. It doesn't seem to transmit very easily, and it seems to basically give you the sniffles, make you a little sniff. It doesn't do what the coronavirus has done. You know, but you throw that in with what's going on with the fungus we talked about yesterday, and you ask yourself this question, how do we get here? Is this more, this new thing, is this more of what we would consider nature? And why the coronavirus seemed to be different is because nature takes a while for it to go from point A to point B. It's got to get used. It's looking at the human body, trying to figure out what do I do? How do I get into it? If I'm into it, how does this work? And how can I transmit it? How can I stay alive? Where when the Wuhan virus seemed to explode, it took off. It had an understanding of the human body.
It's unclear how the man became infected. The commission said he was admitted to hospital with fever symptoms in late April and diagnosed with the H10N3 a month later. He's now been discharged.
Yeah. And he was probably only in there so they could study him for a while, see what happened to him. That's why the lab theory needs to be looked at even harder. I'm not saying there's something there, but if you ask me, I got to bet my house. And we're going to find out the truth, right? With no hiding back, nothing. But I got to bet my house. I'm putting my money on the lab theory. Anybody else?
A year ago this month, in May of 2020, my friend Dr. Fauci gave a number of interviews, and in them he dismissed the lab leak theory. Now, I want to be fair to him. I know the press was all over him, and he did it under pressure from the press. But Dr. Fauci should have told the press to stick it up their fact checker, that I'm going to follow the science, and he didn't. And we've lost a year here. And I don't know if we'll ever find the origin of the virus now.
Which is very true. I don't know if we will, but I will tell you this. Again, why it's important. Because of the spread and how fast it spread. Normally, when something like this jumps from one critter to the other critter, bat, pangolin, whatever it is, to humans, there is a period of which it's trying to figure things out. The spread of which this took place, when you talk to more and more scientists, is it's like it knew the body. It knew and understood things. That right there shows you different things that we should be asking questions. That's why finding out is important, which we know we're never going to find out the actual truth because the Chinese government's never going to allow it. But still, we spent a year being told that you're crazy. Don't dare ask a question. You're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. And we're still waiting to find out, as he says, where that bat is.
People aren't circus freak crazy. It was a reasonable question to ask from day one. Suspicious facts have existed from day one if people cared to look. The Chinese Communist Party and Dr. Fauci, and I'm going to be blunt here, have said for over a year, look, nothing to see here. The coronavirus came from an animal. Except after a year, no one's been able to prove that. No one has found anything close to a smoking bat.
And he's right. And when you ask the question, you were told all kinds of things. I see it. Still have stuff. It's funny. Twitter. Even now when I talk about it, you guys are fooling yourself. You're like, no. It's people. It goes back to nobody would want to believe for a second that what Trump was saying was true or what people on the right were saying is true. This is not about right or left. This is about right and wrong and finding out how this actually took place, but also understanding that of who we're dealing with geopolitically when it comes to a place like People's Republic of China, which is communistic. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. MyPillow. MyPillow. Sleep's good for your health. Sleep's good for your memory. Sleep's good for your long-term world. It really is. MyPillow's changed the way I sleep. I sleep cooler. I sleep comfortably. I sleep all night. I'm telling you guys right now, what they're offering you is incredible. Queen size premium MyPillow, the one, $29.98. It's a $40 savings. King size, $5 more. Never going to go flat. Withstands washing and drying. Made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Lowest price ever. Ever, ever. Go to MyPillow.com. When you do, click on the radio listener special square. Enter promo code Benson or call 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975. When you're there, take advantage of deep discounts on everything from the Giza Dream Sheets to the MyPillow towels and slippers and everything in between. And get your MyPillow premium pillow for $29.98, $40 savings, only with promo code Benson. Or call 800-983-4975 or visit MyPillow today. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old intranet. What's trending?
Let us take a peek of what's trending. Start first and foremost. Twitter. Trump Arctic trending. Why is that? Because Biden suspended drilling leasing in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Amazon Prime Day trending. It'll be June 21st and 22nd. Vietnam's very dangerous new hybrid variant may be fueling its worst outbreak so far. It's possible. That could be happening. Remember, Vietnam did really good with this, the way they locked everything down. But there was no exposure. And as far as vaccines go, so many people are behind us. So what does exposure do? Well, like anything else, the more you're exposed to something, the less it's probably going to do damage to you. So this is pretty bad over there at this moment in time. Head on over to the Google. The Google. The Google, kids. Bird flu. H10N3. We just touched on it. China reports a human case of it, although birds don't seem to get very sick from it, and this guy didn't die from it. So not too many people worried, but now we pay attention when we hear these H this or this, whatever it is. We're like, ooh, because of what obviously took place. Oh, yeah. iCarly star Miranda Cosgrove is back, but she will not be joined by Jenny McCurdy. How old are they? Like 40? Is that it? Maybe? I don't know. UFOs. Government says UFOs are real. That's trending. We're going to touch on that. Are they real? And again, just because we talk about UFOs doesn't mean that they're quote-unquote aliens. Doesn't mean they're not. We don't know what they are. That's the reality of it. JBS cyber attack. Trending as well. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. But don't worry, we're good. We're good because they're now up and running. So your hot dogs and hamburgers should be safe to celebrate this 4th of July. Overeating and making things blow up. It's America, baby. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The data shows young black entrepreneurs are just as capable of succeeding given the chance as white entrepreneurs are. But they don't have lawyers, they don't have accountants, but they have great ideas. Does anyone doubt this whole nation would be better off from the investments those people make? And I promise you, that's why I set up this National Small Business Administration that's much broader, because they're going to get those loans.
That was yesterday, talking about the Tulsa Massacre, what took place. Most people have no idea what that was, right? Most people have no idea what Black Wall Street was. They have no idea any of those things. But listening to him, and I just tweeted it out, I mean, blacks, African American, I just think it's used American, but, you know, everybody's got to put something to it. The reality is how exhausted are you carrying around the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of Democratic politicians on a daily basis? It's probably the same way the right feels about the big business. And everybody, of course, has got to hire other people to carry around the money that all of them want. It's insane. It's insane. So if you don't know what took place, started May 31st, ended June 1st, right? So it was just a day. But we're talking about absolute destruction in Tulsa. Absolute destruction. Probably about 40 people dead, give or take. Other people say it's closer to 200-300. City blocks absolutely destroyed. Hospitals overrun with individuals who were hurt, maimed. And it was awful. Black Wall Street, that area, was a shining beacon for blacks in this country. Right? This was a place where they were booming. And it was the wealthiest community for blacks in this nation. It wasn't even close. And it started because a shoe shine kid was accused of assaulting a white elevator operator. She was 17. It went sideways from there. Rumors, all of a sudden, boom, away it went. The guy that was accused of it, 19-year-old as well, he was lynched. I mean, it was awful. You had blocks and blocks of places that were absolutely destroyed, displacing several thousand people. It was just awful. Awful, awful, awful. It was. But then I listen, to politicians and just the way they play off of all of it. It's just you sit there and you shake your head and you're like, really? I mean, it's those are things that we should be looking to do, but why does it take this long? Why aren't we in communities? And I look at the right. You guys are useless. You've not tried at all. You know how many politicians I've talked to on the right? Why don't you reach out to the black community? Well, yeah. And they're not, it's because they're not in my neighborhood, right? They're not in my area. I'm like, that's not a reason. It goes back to show you. It's always about them, right? Like, that's the number one thing. It's always about them. Everything's about them. But it is frustrating. It is. And yesterday is one of those days where we could go do the race thing again, talk about all of those things, and just, it's just so frustrating. I get frustrated because I hate inaction. I don't like it. I hate it. We should be moving forward. We should be doing things. It frustrates the hell out of me that we can't have any real conversations in this country, then followed by actual action and getting stuff done. But we've become so partisan. We've allowed chaos, craziness, and lunacy on both sides to run the show. We allow that to happen, and then we get what we get. We get what we get. And we should all be frustrated. We get chaos. We get lunacy. We get things like this. This is Mike Flynn. Remember him? Over the weekend, which we found out about, we had no idea. There was a QAnon conference. I thought the whole thing was supposed to be quiet.
I'm a simple Marine. I want to know why what happened in Myanmar can't happen here.
So now, that wasn't Flynn saying that. Somebody asked him a question.
No reason. I mean, it should happen. No reason. But
so if you don't know what happened in Myanmar or Burma, depending on the day of the week, essentially every other week there is some sort of absolute fight. It is the largest civil war in history as far as the length of time, still continuing to go on over and over. And we're not talking about a small little country. It's 54 million people. And right now, this week, who runs it? Well, the military. Who always runs it? Whoever has the most guns at this point in time. But I listen to that, and he denies saying it. And I think to myself, my God, I heard you. The guy asked the question. He goes, it can, and it should. Well, he didn't really say that. No, I heard him. I heard him say it. Everybody did. That's what happens when you let crazy run things. When you placate people, what you should say is, no, that should never happen. We're a nation of laws. We're a nation that has a constitution. We abide by that constitution, even at times when it means we don't get the things that we think we want, need, desire. They don't say that. Democrats, everybody plays the game. They stomp all over that thing, and it's just frustrating. Oh, yeah, we should. He didn't really say that. He did. He did. The guy asked him, why can't something, a human being in America who's like, I'm a Marine, I'm just a former Marine, soldier guy. Why can't we have a coup? Let's listen again.
no reason. I mean, it should happen. There's no reason, but that's right.
There's no reason. It should happen. That's what I heard you say, Mike Flynn. There's no reason it should happen. Nuts. Again, when you placate people and you sit there and you appease them, whether it's the QAnon world or whether or not it's activists on the left-hand side who are yes, you know, it's all about race, it's all about, you know, white privilege, and when you do that, you get inaction. We can't have that. We can't. We have serious things that we should be debating. We have serious things we should be talking about. We have serious things that need to get done. We need to get our house in order. Right? And we're not. It's so frustrating. It is. Frustrating. I like action. I think most of you do too. I always tell, I'll put my audience up against anybody. And the reason is because I think my audience has something that the other audiences don't have. In a lot of ways. Is you guys, you do your thing. Think for yourself. Don't take my word for it. I want you to look things up. But you would, when most won't. And that's sad. I like action. I know I'm not going to get everything I want, but can I get some of the things that I must have? Yeah. Will I also have to give up some of those things? Yes. But will I at times take a step backwards, but eventually take 2 or 3 steps forward? Yes. And if the end of the goal is to get from point A to point B, what we have right now is we're not even at point A. And that's frustrating. Action. Here's a kid who took action, who's 7 years old, and he took action.
A 7-year-old Jacksonville boy being hailed a hero for saving his family in a boating accident. Chase Poust, his 4-year-old sister, and his dad went out on a boat to fish. The kids decided to go swimming along the boat while it was anchored. Suddenly, the current got stronger, and the kids were in trouble. Dad says he jumped in the water but couldn't hold on to both kids, so he told Chase to swim to shore.
The current was so strong that my sister, she usually hangs out at the back of the boat, and she let go. So I let go of the boat, and I grabbed her, and then I was stuck.
He's 7. And for those of you guys who've never been on a boat, whether it's in the lake or in the ocean, everything looks way closer than it really is. Just letting you know that. Oh, I could swim to shore. Yeah. You really tried swimming to shore? Do you realize how far that is? You can't swim in a pool for 20 minutes. Now swim against the current. Now, most people, this is where you find out you're challenging yourself and you realize you can overcome it. But it is one of those things where you see, I can see the shoreline. It's not that far. Oh, it's far.
I told them both I loved them because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I tried to stick with her as long as I could. I wore myself out. She drifted away from me.
Chase kept on swimming, and the 7-year-old made it to shore after an hour and was able to knock on a neighbor's door for help.
How'd you get so good at being in the water and dealing with those kind of situations?
I have no idea.
You know how? Because you had to. That's how. Because you had to get something done. He had to take action, and he did.
Were you getting tired swimming?
Oh, yes. That's why I did. That's why I floated on my back.
Chase says he didn't have a life jacket on, but Abigail did. And that's what kept her afloat when she drifted away from her dad. The 7-year-old made it to shore after an hour and knocked on a neighbor's door for help. And that help finally came when Florida Fish and Wildlife rescued the father and 4-year-old. The Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office also helped in this rescue.
We're here. By the grace of God, we're here.
By the way, and Chase, don't forget Chase. Now, here's a question for you guys. Kid took action. All that stuff's great. Dad has to go home now and look at the wife and say, honey, you're going to see something on TV a little bit later today. Wasn't as dangerous as they made it out to be. You let the kids swim outside the boat? Maybe. You telling the kid, look, Chase, you get to the house. When you get to the house, tell them our boat capsized. But I didn't. Don't you worry about that. By the time they get here, I'll flip that over. If your mother finds out about this, she's not even going to let me take you in the jacuzzi. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Doesn't make it look good for dads. I'm just letting you know. Raycons, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons, different colors. New soft gel tip. When you put it inside your ear, it's awesome. Gives you even better noise isolating fit, 6 hours of talk time. The case itself is a charging port, so you just put your earbuds in there. Boom. They're charging up. You don't have to be connected. That's what I love about Raycons. It's just everything for a price that's absolutely fantastic. So if you're saying to yourself, I would love to get some new earbuds for summer, these are them. If you're saying to yourself, I would love to get dad something, this is what it's all about. There's no stems. There's no wires. Seamless Bluetooth pairing. And the noise isolating fit separates it like you couldn't believe. Right now, 45-day happiness guarantee. Get your Raycons. Put it to the test. They start well under $100. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save an extra 15%. Buyraycon.com/Chad for the best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? Italian band Måneskin won the Eurovision Song Contest this year. And 183 million people saw them do it. The contest was dark last year for the pandemic, but this year's numbers were bigger than 2019 by about 1 million. The number dwarfs the Super Bowl, Oscars, Emmys, and Grammys combined. And online viewership was up big time, about 50 million unique viewers. Check out the broadcast on YouTube, up 28% from 2 years ago.
Guys joke when I talk about the Eurovision Song Contest. It's almost 250 million people. Now, I didn't say the World Cup because the World Cup obviously draws way more than that. But it's a song contest. Still don't know who the winner is. We know the Italians won, but there's a whole thing about cocaine, which I'm like, well, they're a rock band. Like if they were drinking apple juice, you'd be like, that's weird. What's wrong with those people? Well, they're drinking apple juice. It's a lot of people. It's a huge amount of people. Again, it dwarfs. Well, does anybody watch the Olympics? I mean, the Winter Olympics, nobody watches. The Summer Games, and these Summer Games this year, my goodness me, what an absolute nightmare this is going to be.
These waivers are actually quite normal for the Olympics. Athletes often have to sign them, but this one is a little bit different. It reads, I agree that I participate in the games at my own risk, including serious bodily injury, so far so good, but here's the kicker, or even death raised by the transmission of COVID-19. It sounds pretty drastic. Organisers say it's just kind of an insurance policy. You'd understand that athletes would need to do that.
So they got to sign a thing that said, yeah, you've come here, enjoy it. We're going to have a lot of fun. Probably not. No, there's not going to be any fans in Japan's so far behind right now. So, sign this. It says that if you get the coronavirus and you die, that's a you thing, which it should have been that way anyways in everything. I can't believe they're going to still go through with it the way they are. I mean, but Japan has no choice. The amount of money they're going to lose is huge. Without going through with it, it would be insane, the amount of money. What's it even look like now as far as coaches, as fans, the athletes? And remember, some of them are already there, right? They're training, they're over there getting acclimated with the time change, all of those kind of things. On top of that, you got coaches, and some athletes don't arrive until like the second week because they're participating in the second week. They're not there the first week, and some are going to be leaving. It's crazy.
It's not just always about the procedures, but it's also about having the athletes, coaches, volunteers all adhering to these protocols.
And as we all know, you get a bunch of athletes in a village where usually, for lack of better terms, it's kind of sex village is what it is. It's chaos and craziness. So we'll see how this thing goes. I just don't know how they're going to do it, but you got to sign a waiver. Got to sign that waiver, kids. Here's the waiver. You know that you could die in some of these sports, but it's dying 4 weeks later with the coronavirus because they're worried they're going to get sued. I wouldn't even know how you do. How would you even know you got it? Here's the other thing. What if you met somebody from the Ukraine, but you were from Zimbabwe? And they're the ones who get it. Could you sue that country now? See, so many questions left unanswered. What you can't do is sue Japan. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Maybe they should just host the Eurovision Song Contest. Numbers are bigger. People seem to enjoy it. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's also about having very frank and honest conversations about the need to address corruption, to address crime, violence, and in particular against some of the most vulnerable populations in that country.
Vice President Harris, she's the immigration stopper. I'm kidding. Talking about Guatemala.
It's going to be an honest and real conversation. So I'm there to listen as much as I am to share perspective.
So you're going to go, you're going to listen, and you're going to share your perspective. Corruption. How are you going to stop that? Tell me how you're going to stop that. Tell me how you're going to put your foot down and stop that. You're not. You're not going to do that. You don't have any power to do that. You don't. We don't have the stomach to throw everybody out, nor do I think we should at this point, because we've allowed this thing on to a point where it's ridiculous. But we don't even have the stomach. The last guy, Trump, policy-wise, I believed in a lot of his policy. Personality-wise, not so much. One of those policies, though, that I did believe in, I didn't like the separation of kids the way he did it, but I did like the fact that he made people stay on the other side of the border. They're applying for asylum. Somehow, you're going to go there and you're going to talk to Guatemala. It's like, hey, I'm here to talk. And I understand you have to do that, but it goes back to the action thing. There's just no action behind it. We're going to end up sending more money. Let me tell you what's going to happen now. They promise us they're going to be really, really good this time. And we are going to send them some money and help them fight off corruption and to set up special task force to fight some of these gangs that prey on the vulnerable. But at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything. It's just not. It isn't. And that's the frustrating thing, because we don't really have a plan in place. Like everything, we have lip service. We're big at that. We're big at lip service. We're bad at follow-through in government. And we're big at lip service. And part of that is the fact that, you're a portion of something. You're a spoke in a wheel. That's it. So you can promise a lot of things, but in many cases you can't deliver because there's other things that you have to do to try to deliver something like that. Like right now, we're talking race is the biggest issue for a lot of people in this country. At least that's the way the media would have you believe. That's the only thing that anybody thinks about. If you watch some of the media, you think, and the people that tweet at me and text me, you would swear that you wake up if you're white, and the only thing you think of is, man, how can I destroy a black person's life? Like, that's the way they make it seem. And it's ridiculous. Biden's trying to do some stuff with race, but the reality is Biden's got everything he needed out of the black community. He got votes that he needed, and he's got the Democratic machine pumping that thing out there and making sure that he says just enough, but with very little follow-through and action. Trump had a crappy message at time. The follow-through was okay, but action's the most important thing. Obama didn't do anything when it came to justice reform legally. Didn't do anything. Had some opportunities, right? Why? I don't know. There's so many things that presidents, you think, why didn't you take the opportunity of that? Why couldn't you do that? Again, it's crazy that we don't have real conversations in this country. This is Rachel Scott talking about the reparation side of things, right? Because that's the thing that's building up steam.
The president has said that he supports a study on reparations, but that's not exactly just backing it outright. And this is really taking center stage, especially there in Tulsa, where the president just left. The descendants of the Tulsa Race Massacre, the few living survivors, and their legal team, one of the biggest things that they are pushing for is reparations.
Recreations or reparations? I would say. Let's double check that again.
Pushing for is reparations.
Reparations. All right. Because recreations, look, here's the deal. We're not going to give you any money, but what we are going to do is we're going to get you a summer camp. That's where we are now. We're at a place where we're divided like you couldn't believe. Now we're talking about, and why are we divided? You would think we're divided 24/7. I'm not. Are you? No. Most people just live in their lives. Most people just want an opportunity at happiness. You go anywhere in the world. I discussed this yesterday. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a lawyer, pretty big lawyer. And he and I were chatting about this. Yeah, you go anywhere in the world. People want a shot at happiness, right? They want to raise their kids. They want a shot at happiness. They want to live their life and relative peace outside of the arguing with the other half or your family. But that's what they want. They want their shot. Same thing here. So people just want their shot. That's it. Not looking for anything else. Just want a shot. Some people want to rig the game, and some people want to make sure the game's rigged for them. Now we're talking about reparations. Well, yeah, we should totally do this. California's looking into it.
With this signature,
and we'll just start here by signing this.
Governor Newsom made history, making California the first state in the country studying and developing proposals for potential reparations for African Americans.
I like the spirit of what you guys are saying. This is not just about California. This is about making an impact in a debt across the rest of the country.
So that's what they're going to look at. Now they're like, hey, Biden, you better support this. You're like, why does he have to support this? How do you even go about doing it? How do you do it? What? Just curious. Mitch McConnell.
I don't think reparations for something that happened 150 years ago for whom none of us currently living are responsible is a good idea.
Does anybody think that's a good idea? How do you do it? How far do you go back? You know, they talk about the Japanese, people that were interned. Those were the survivors. Holocaust. There were survivors. They went through it. Even there, the Tulsa Massacre. And some of the things that where you're a survivor, they've come and they've taken away your land, your property. Absolutely. We're just talking about going, all right, here's the deal. Across the board, we're just going to start handing out money, forgiving debt. I mean, how does this work? It's frustrating. From immigration to this kind of things, the climate things, like where's the reality of the day today? People are looking and going, all right, you know what? I'm going to the gas pump. I'm paying a ton more money. We can't blame it all on Biden, but I'm looking at you thinking, okay, well, are you going to do something? I'm now going to be paying more money for meat. At the end of the day, you're the coach, right? It all lands on your shoulders. The good, the bad, the ugly. When you win, it's the teams that did it. When you lose, it's the coach's fault. Right now, you're the coach. People are looking and going, feels very Jimmy Carter-esque. Even though you could say, look, there's a lot of reasons that have very little to do with Biden. People don't want to hear that. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we as human beings are looking for somebody to blame. The meat world got hacked, so there's that. Now meat is going to cost more. And it's already been going up because gas prices have gone up, because we were hijacked. We had a bad winter. We don't have enough, because of the pandemic, we don't have enough people to drive the fuel from point A to point B, which is causing what? More people to realize that the supply, now that we're back out there, isn't meeting the demand. And without that supply meeting the demand, there's pressure on gas prices, which shoots it up, which means it's going to cost you and I more at the pump, which means from going from point A to point B, it's going to cost somebody taking that widget, that hamburger, that chicken more, which means it's going to cost us. These are things that people think about in everyday world. They don't live their lives in activism. I'm an activist. They don't. They live their life day to day trying to figure out how they can go from point A to point B, how they can get the kids home after soccer practice, who's picking who up, whom's picking whom, how we can go and make sure that they're signed up for this, how my business has a meeting that's late tonight, but I can't. These are things that people think about. And why is it when I go to the store or the gas pump, things are costing me a lot more, and I seem to be getting a lot less? That's everyday life, regardless of color. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. And I'm going to say this, too. When it comes to reparations, could you imagine what that's going to be like? What if you're over here and you're like, well, wait a minute, why does he get money, or he gets relief on his debt and she doesn't? Or why does her family get this and this? I mean, this is what's going to cause fights and open that bottle and the genie's coming out, and then we found out that the genie is not as nice as in the movie. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Yep, meat. It's out there. They're back up and running. But you don't have to worry about that because you got Omaha Steaks. Keyword Chad. Always remember that right there at the top. Keyword Chad. Right now, just in time for summer And Dad, this thing he really wants, the thing his stomach wants, the Get Out and Grill assortment with the best of the best. Butcher cut strips, 4 10-ounce. Finished off the last of them last night. Made some little tacos, but it was delicious. Age 30 days. Age equals tenderness. Top of that, chicken breasts, Omaha steak burgers, jumbo franks, all of the fixins, including caramel apple tartlets, yum, and the fries, the Omaha steak fries. And on top of that, just for pops, I'm going to throw in 4 5-ounce New York strip burgers. So you could be the kid that gets Dad something, and he's like, oh, that's great. That's great. And then throws it away, right? Or just never thinks about it. Or you could be the one where like, hey, did you guys know this burger's night? Yeah. Kid got it for me. Steak tonight? Kid got it for me. That's why they're here. That's why their brother and sister, they didn't get me anything. That's why they're inside in the little table, and they're not eating anything tonight. They got bologna. Yeah. Get Dad what he wants. Get Out and Grill assortment right now. Get those 4 free New York strip burgers. OmahaSteaks.com. Promo code or the keyword is Chad right there at the search bar. OmahaSteaks.com. Keyword Chad. Do it now. Get Out and Grill just in time for Pops. OmahaSteaks.com. Keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
We're at a place where we're hitting a bit of a wall with people really not necessarily getting the vaccine, and any incentive can help. Obviously, free lifts or lotteries, maybe beer, I guess. But I think this idea that, there's still a confidence issue, and then if you have full approval of the vaccine, it really sort of eliminates this concern that people have that it's an experimental vaccine.
Moderna's asking for full FDA approval. I just love, we can try this, we can try. Look, if somebody doesn't want to get the vaccine, stop harping on them. But we have to get them. No, we don't. We don't. You live your life. They know what the risk is. Stop trying to get people to do something they don't want to do. Well, it's for their benefit. They don't think it is. And I'm going to let them make that choice. It could kill you. It's not going to kill me. I got the vaccine. I've also had it. We just have this, we're begging people. It's like, all right, here's the deal. We're going to give people a $50 gift card. That's what California is doing. So everybody gets vaccinated, and you get your second vaccine. It depends on what you get, right? So if you get Johnson & Johnson, you only get one. But once you get that, you get a $50, I think, Amazon gift card or one of those, Visa cards. That's what we're doing. We have so much money. We have this insanity of money that has come in, and boom, we're just going to start handing money out. Do lotteries. We're going to give $1.5 million away. We're going to give free college away. If you don't want to get the vaccine, then who cares? Well, Chad, you should care. They could get sick. They could. But I'm not going to sit here and harp on them. I see too much of that going on. Look, do I care? Look, some of them, they have rightful concerns about this, okay? They do. Some of them have absolutely, I get, you're nervous. You're looking to your leaders, and they've not done the best. But some of them are insane. They are. Some of them believe that you're going to turn into a plant. I had that here. That's one of them. That you're going to disappear. You're going to go to a third arm. That you're going to, that something's going to happen to you. Let them be. Right? You've got it. That's all that you need to care about. That's it. You don't need to care about anything else. You got it. Go from there. We have other things that we should concern ourselves with right now, which is the fact that during this entire time, we've decided to not just allow the spigot of money the government's spending to open up, but to open it up full throttle.
This budget comes directly from the North Pole. Santa Claus has come to town, and it isn't even December yet. I cannot tell you how excited I am. It's like going through the catalog and saying, I want one of everything, and by golly, I get it. If you love government and you really think that the government will spend your paycheck better than you will, and if you honestly believe that government not only will spend your paycheck, but that they will do it so much more efficiently and effectively than you could ever spend your own money, what's not to love?
Huckabee's right there. Not Sarah. The other one, Mike. He's right there. I mean, we're just talking about all the money that they want to spend, all the goodies they want to give away. We're spending so much money on crap. We're handing money out to states, and we're going out, and it is insane. I've always cared about the budget. Last year, the first time, we did what we had to do. But also states put themselves in poor position, hoping the federal government would bail them out. And many of those states, blue states, got lucky, and they've been bailed out. Now they're sitting there with a windfall of cash, all while mismanaging in many ways their states. And everybody wants their piece now. We have to beg people, we'll give you $100 if you get a shot. My goodness. It's insane, isn't it? No wonder the rest of the world gets pissed at us. We have so much vaccine that we're having to pay people to get it. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Apparently Trump's blog is no longer available. It's been shut down. Started May, right? When did it start? I can't even remember when it started. Maybe a month ago? 2 months? I mean, it's not been a long time, but it's gone now. Wow. He's a kingmaker still. The opportunity is there for him, but he has no voice. And as we all know, the further you are away from stuff, the more people forget about you, if you will. I don't know. Yeah, I forgot about that. And he doesn't have that voice. He can't reach people immediately. Now, I don't think he should have ever been banned from Twitter. I think that was ridiculous. I think most people would agree with that. You don't have to like the guy, but at the same time, let's be real. He's the President of the United States. Now he's the former President of the United States. He talk about taking away somebody's free speech. It is their company. But at the same time, I thought it was ridiculous. Even Bernie came out a couple weeks ago, and he's like, well, I think he should be back. I don't think it's good. It doesn't set a good example, blah, 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 blah. But it's the frustration he has, and that's the thing. If you're Trump and you're trying to keep this momentum, this populism, and that's what the Republicans are looking for, you're not going to find somebody that's going to out-Trump Trump inside the Republican Party. That person doesn't exist. Who could take some of Trump's policies, again, which I agreed with. I agree with a lot of his policies. Not everything, but I don't agree with any president with everything. Who does? But that's the world we live in now. It's all or nothing. And who can then take that message and shape it in a way that is friendlier? The one thing that Democrats do better than Republicans is the way they tell their stories, the way they tug at emotions and heartstrings. Republicans don't do that. They've never been great at it. They've tried it. Every once in a great while, you'll find somebody that has that chance, that touch, the way they can do certain things. But the Democrats do a better job, but their feelings often override the facts. A lot of times, Republicans get some of the facts right, big time, but their feelings and the way they sell it doesn't. People like Trump because he fought. But then people got mad at Trump because he fought everything. They fought his own shadow, and not having a chance to reach people I think that's going to be a struggle. That's going to be a struggle for Trump. That is. And no matter how much that they're going to try to spin it, this kind of thing is another one of those, it doesn't look good. He still has the opportunity to go out there and he's going to raise a ton of money. That's all that politics is anymore. It's about raising money, putting it inside some sort of giant kitty and war chest and spending it kind of freely as you feel, especially with these PACs and stuff like that, and do anything we want with the money. But Trump needs all of the other stuff. He needs the trappings. He's got the money. He needs the trappings of everything else. And that's a frustrating thing. And you look at this, and this is just something else where it's like, ugh. This is not what he wants. I think he'd do just about anything to get himself back on Twitter. All of those people that are out there. You got to think about that. Not too often, I think everybody dismisses everybody who votes for Trump or thinks that Trump was, loved Trump is somehow some sort of card-carrying Nazi, and that's a bunch of crap. You know that, and I know that. They love America, and they see things differently than the people on the left. And just like people on the left, everybody thinks, well, these people are just a bunch of, progressive, patchouli-wearing hippies that hate everything American. That's a lie, too. Are there the extremes of those people? Of course. But Trump, his voice right now is big within the party, but for the average person, they're not into the nuance. Trump kept it simple, stupid for a lot of people. He was a sledgehammer. He knew exactly what he was going to do. I'm a sledgehammer. This is all I do. That's it. I'm not a screwdriver. I'm not a Swiss Army knife. I'm a sledgehammer. Ish-boom, ish-boom, ish-boom. That's what he was. That was a French try. Sledgehammer. Shiboom, shiboom. It was. He doesn't have that. Doesn't. And that's got to just eat him up inside. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Dr. Scott Atlas.
We're not going to go for a zero COVID world or a zero risk world. If we do, then you better live in your, lock your doors and never come out again. I mean, that's just irrational. And in fact, the fear, inciting fear in search of zero COVID risk is so harmful, and it just indicates so many things wrong, including it totally undermines the trust in public health leadership.
Yeah. And I think there is something to that. The safer that we've made the world, the more stressful it is for people when things happen that are risk and out of their control. So many people, because let's be real, there was never any real all right, we're in a pandemic and then each state's doing their own thing. We're shutting stuff down. But there was never when we get to this certain point, we're going to essentially say that this is over. And it's this. We still have people walking into stores do I mask, no mask? Am I going to get yelled at by a Karen? And, all these. But then you've got a certain group of people that were already risk adverse, who think because they doom scroll, that think that everything out there is dangerous. They wrap themselves in bubble wrap. And now they're going to be terrified.
Many people are experiencing a fear of going out, FOGO. Before the pandemic, we had FOMO, fear of missing out. But during the pandemic, one of the ways we kept safe was by staying at home, really limiting our social interactions to those people within our circle.
FOGO, fear of going out. Fear of going out. I think most of us have one or two people in our circle, if you will, that are that way. I've got a couple that are vaccinated. One of them goes out, but they're still wearing masks. They're still staying socially really distanced from people. And then I have one who will not go out. Has gotten to the point where it's almost agoraphobic. And that's not good. That's not good at all. But look at the bubble we're in now. Look how long we're living. Did you see 60 Minutes this past weekend? Many of you probably did. Some of you probably didn't. They're talking about age. And we talked about it last week that the human body, at least as of this moment, 150 is the max. That the body that we have currently, this body, is going to be able to go. 120 to 150. But age-wise, you go and look at the turn of the century. Not this past one, the one before that, so we go from the 1800s to 1900s, right? So we go from the 1900s, the 19th century into the 20th century, and we look up there and we're like, oh my goodness. We've gone from the average age being like early 40s globally of death. And even here in America, it was, late 40s, early 50s, maybe 60s, to now we're comfortably living in. We've doubled our lifespan, by and large. And we're going to probably have a chance of doing it. But what they talked about the other night was, what? 1 out of every 2 kids being born will live to be 100. Right now. So 1 out of every 2 kids being born is going to live to be 100. I've got little ones, Jack, and my other ones, they're going to live to be 100? Yeah, plus. And that's based on the stuff we have now. But that's part of the fact that we have all of this great stuff. And because of that, we look around and we think, when something happens, something is bridged, something is broken through that bubble of safety. Right? We look at a shooting and we think that happens 24/7, 365. We start breaking these things down and we think that this is it. It's broken through my bubble of safety. And oh my God, now people are terrified. They see everybody now as potentially a killer because of the coronavirus.
People are feeling an uptick in anxiety about going back out, doing regular things. We don't want to let anxiety kind of dictate our life.
But people do. And because if it bleeds, it leads. And remember, it's when you look at how you sell something, it's not about want and need, right? Because easy to sell something with want. Need is a hard thing to sell. It's like, I need water. All right, fine. I need this. All right, fine. Want is easy, but even when it comes to the want, it's selling what part of want to get something bigger and bigger. How do you do that with emotions? And that's how the media does it. Do it through emotions. I'm going to do it through emotions. We're going to do it through emotions. Do it through emotions. I'm going to scare you. I'm going to freak you out. I'm going to do this and do that. And that's a lot of what it is. And now you've got a group of people, probably 30 million strong in this country, who are scared to go out. And then you probably got a group of another 15 million people that are reluctantly putting their toe in the water and coming back in. That is not good. It is not good by any stretch of the imagination. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Let me tell you about something you shouldn't be afraid of, and that is that check engine light when it comes to your car. That's why you've got CarShield. That's right. You don't worry about it, right? Like, oh, gosh, fear of car breaking down. Oh, my God. No, you don't have that anymore. You got CarShield. Let me tell you what CarShield does for you. First of all, CarShield coverage. You don't have to worry about the check engine light whatsoever, right? Because you've got CarShield that's got your back to help you with cover repairs. Top of that, your mechanic. They're going to send me somewhere crappy. No, you got to take it to your mechanic. Now, if your mechanic sucks, that's a you problem, but you've chosen. Take it to the dealership. They'll get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. Yeah, but what about, if my, it's in there for 7 days? Don't worry, they got your back there too. Free rental cars, reimbursement, the whole 9 yards. It's the beauty of it. Rental coverage, trip reimbursement, roadside assistance, all at no additional charge. They've got it all. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by CarShield. They're America's #1 auto protection company. Now you can find out why CarShield cars go further. Right now, save an extra 10%. Simple and easy. Go to carshield.com/Benson, carshield.com/Benson. You save an extra 10% right there. They got plans that start as low as $99 a month. Be smart. Get yourself covered. Protect your wallet. Protect your car. Get CarShield. carshield.com/Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
need to socially distance while listening to your Chad Benson Show podcast. 4 out of 5 experts say so.
I'm a scientist. There is no corona.
But hurry before they change their mind. You know they will. Chad's podcast found on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite COVID-free podcasts.
Oh my gosh. I kind of like it, I'm not gonna lie.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
Her mom says she was shocked when she saw the video.
I just break down every time I see him. It's just horrifying to watch.
The dogs, including her mom's service animal, are okay.
Yeah. So, what do you have? It's caught on, it's out there, TikTok and everywhere. You got a bear that's on a wall. So, one of those old, like orange, pinkish, beige brick walls. And it's weird. It's like there's a couple of orange trees, and you've got this bear that's up there, right? And her cubs are trying to climb over the wall, and it's in California. And you have a 17-year-old girl that, notices, okay, craziness and chaos going on outside with the dogs. And the dogs at first are a little, they're little dogs, they're yappy dogs. But then out comes mom's service dog. And that's when, no reaction, just go.
It's an animal, and it's taking my child, and I pushed the bear, and I was like, oh my God, I just pushed a bear.
Yeah, she pushed the bear back over. And by the way, it's not your child. Some people love their animals like that. I know, but but I understand what you're saying. And the reaction was to go and just push the bear. And that's what she did. She just went over there and absolutely just pushed it right over. And I was like, eh. Now, if the bear's on the other side of the wall, meaning the bear had gotten over the wall and down, and then the cubs are right there, different story. Bear is balancing on a wall. I don't know if you guys know this. Bears go up trees really well, and they're mobile, and they can run fast, but balancing isn't probably their greatest trick with the giant 4 paws.
It's just the latest bear encounter making national headlines recently.
Oh my God.
Just last week, a man was attacked while hiking in Yellowstone National Park. He suffered serious injuries.
Because when you go to nature sometimes will mess you up. This youngster, Haley, she managed to mess a little bit of nature up. Now, the bear isn't saying anything, but through sources, we've been told that the bear is looking for a second opportunity, if you will, a second bite at the cherry, and we'll see how that goes. My money's on the bear for revenge. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Let's have some fun.
Someone must explain why celebrities running for high office is a recurring nightmare we cannot seem to shake. The Rock, Caitlyn Jenner, Matthew McConaughey, Randy Quaid, they all have suggested lately that when it comes to running the country, they have what it takes. And they do. Malignant narcissism. I'm sure Caitlyn Jenner is a nice person, but as California governor, she would be in charge of the world's 5th largest economy, based on her qualifications of being a background character in a reality show not about her.
Yeah, let's hold on, though, for that. I mean, the one thing we can say about Caitlyn Jenner and the previous Jenner on the Wheaties box is built up a nice net worth the old-fashioned way. But, yeah, he hit it on the head. Here's the reality of it. It used to be athletes wanted to be rock stars and hip-hop stars and movie and TV stars. Movie and TV stars wanted to be athletes. Once in a while, politicians. Now everybody wants to be a politician. And let's not forget, Reagan was a politician, but before that he was a actor. But he's right about the narcissism. He's right about that. It takes a special kind of somebody to want to be out there. People who are CEOs, people who are in big corporations. It takes a certain sense of something. Very few people want to have that kind of power and live in certain shadows where they're never messed with. Most of them enjoy it. That's why they think about running all the time. And they hear it from people like, you'd make a great president. Like, you probably would. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Have a great day. We got you over the hump. Night, Jack.
Chad Benson Show.